Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Rav.
Albert, how are you? Hello,
Good
everyone.
evening, Rav.
Good evening.
Hello, hello. Oh, Louis, you're with us. No, Baruch
Yes,
Hashem.
they managed to finish it at
So
about 5:30.
Good. So you're going to do it. You steal your job.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
How are you all? Is everyone well?
Baruch Hashem, all good.
Good, good, good. There's a lot of noise in the background. Whoever there, Anthony and Ivor, there's a lot of noise coming from your side. Please. Hello, Marky.
Hello, Rob. How you doing?
Shalom Aleichem. How are you?
Aleichem shalom. Aleichem shalom.
It's so nice to see you all with us. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem.
Baruch
It's so
Hashem.
nice. Good. Okay, so we are 3 minutes already behind. So let's start with the shiur without, I'm going to mute everyone. Louis, you're going to unmute yourself after I finish the introduction for the parsha. Okay. So בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. As usually we start, we're going to dedicate the shiur בעזרת השם in honor of Esther Kaden Bat Ketzia, Mordechai ben Rahma, Harav Avraham Chaim ben Eliezer Yaakov, Tamar bat Zeava, Rachel bat Malka Sultana, Yaakov Salomon ben Farha, Dvorah Ruth bat Bela, Chaim Eliyahu ben Yeshayahu. Please God that the word of Torah that we're going to speak tonight will uplift their soul in heaven. Also, I would like to dedicate the shiur in health of Liora bat Miriam, Menashe Naji ben Farha, Orna Bluma bat Miriam, Harav Avraham ben Marina, Harav Shlomo Yehuda ben Dalia, Moshe ben Devorah, Eitan ben Adasa, Israel ben Zisa, Mordechai David ben Leah, Yosef ben Rachel, Dvorah bat Esther, Sarah Dvorah bat Elka, and we have also Tzadok ben Sarah, Shulamit bat Haya Sheina Leah, and Aryeh ben Gito, and we have David Yitzhak ben Hava Leah Yehudit. Please God, refuah shlema to all of them, and to kol she'ar cholei amo Israel bechol makom shehem. So we see in the parsha that we're going to read today quite a bit of a lot of interesting happening in Parashat Vayera. So let's start with the introduction. In the year 2047 from the creation, Avraham Avinu, as in his entire household, actually having a Brit Milah. That means they get circumcised. Avraham Avinu in that age was in the age of 99, and his son Ishmael was in the age of 13 when it happened, 13. Chazal in the Gemara in Baba Metziah, in page 86, folio 2, tell us something very interesting. And the third day, okay, that the Parsha talk, Vayera elav, it was the third day for the circumcision, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu come to visit Avraham Avinu. And because it was the third day for the circumcision, and usually the third day for the sickness, Chazal explain hu hakashe beyoter, that means the most difficult time. HaKadosh Baruch Hu make that day very, very hot. Otzi hama min ha'artika, as Rashi say. That means he pulled the sun out of his holster. We spoke about previous shorim, and the main reason is not to bother Avraham Avinu with visitors. Okay, but when HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that Avraham Avinu have no intent to lose this kind of a mitzvah, and he waiting for host, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent Avraham Avinu 3 angels. The first angel was Raphael, and they all came to Avraham Avinu in all different looking way. But Raphael came to cure. Who did Raphael came to cure? Raphael came to cure Avraham Avinu. Then come the Michael. Michael came to give the good news to Sarah Imenu. What was the job of Michael? To tell her that she's going to have a child when she's going to be 90. Then came the third angel. Who's that? Gabriel. Gabriel came to tell and to give the message that he's going to destroy Sodom and That means Gabriel was his job to destroy the city of Sodom. After that, we see in the Parsha something very interesting that the Torah tells us about, obviously, what's happened in Sodom and how HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned that city that was so prosperous and so beautiful to a place that nothing can grow. The Torah continues and tell us that the daughters of Lot, when they saw that everything got distracted around them, they was thinking that the world is finished and they fall pregnant from their father Lot. After that, the Torah tells us that Avimelech, the king Avimelech, actually kidnapped Sarai Menu. And on the same night, HaKadosh Baruch Hu start punishing Avimelech and its entire nation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu punished them a very severe punishment. In the year 2048 for the creation, okay, Yitzhak Avinu born. A year later, Yitzhak Avinu born. In the year 2051 for the creation, Avraham Avinu actually decided that he have to tell Hagar, that was the servant of Sarai Menu and his son, to leave their house. And it was by the command of Sarai Menu, and Avraham Avinu told, HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu, Kol asher tomar lecha Sarah, shema bekola. What it means? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu, whatever Sarah is going to tell you, you must listen to her. Why? Because Hazal explained that Sarai Menu was one of the highest female prophet that we have. Okay? Not only that, in prophecy, she was higher than Avraham Avinu. Listen to that. Sarai Menu. Okay, so Avraham Avinu in the year 2051 for the creation, tell Hagar to leave. Not only Hagar, he tell his son, Ishmael, to leave. Ishmael in that time was in the age of 17 years old. Okay, Yitzhak Avinu was in the age of 3. In the year 2085 for the creation, listen to that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu command Avraham Avinu to take his son, Yitzhak, to the Akedah. What it means, Akedah? To take him, to put him on top of the altar as a sacrifice. Okay, that was in the year 2085 from the creation. In that time, Avraham Avinu was in the age of 137, and Yitzhak Avinu was in the age of 37, and Sarai Menu was in the age of 127 when it happened, the Akedah, and Ishmael was in the age of 51 years old when it happened, the Akedah. Okay, the Akedah happened, as you all know, that we spoke about it, in Yom Kippurim, the day that it's Yud Betishrei, that's when it happened, the Akedah. Those basically the points, the main interesting point that, maybe it's wrong to say the interesting, but those the main point that we're going to read, please God, on Shabbos, this coming Shabbos, on Parashat Vayera. And now we're going to start the Parsha, Be'ezrat Hashem, Na'aseh v'natzliach, V'Hashem alenu, Berachamav yarviach. וירא אליו באלוני ממרא, והוא יושב פתח האוהל, אוקיי? והוא יושב פתח האוהל כחום היום, בכבוד לי.
Hashem appeared to him in the plains of Mari, while he was sitting at the entrance of the tent in the heat of the day.
Okay, if you look carefully, in this verse, I spoke to some of the members of the show. If you look carefully, look what's happening here. Vayera elav Adonai be'elonei mamre. HaKadosh Baruch Hu appeared to him. Appeared to who? We know that he appeared to Avraham Avinu, but the Torah doesn't say that. Not only that, listen to that. Rashi HaKadosh said, levaker et ha'holeh. Rashi HaKadosh, Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki, born in the city of Troyes in the north of France 981 years ago. And in his commentary on the Torah, what did he say? Levaker et ha'holeh, to visit the sick person. Again, if you look, the Torah doesn't mention the name of Avraham Avinu. Rashi HaKadosh doesn't mention the name of Avraham Avinu. Why is that? Why the Torah and Rashi doesn't mention the name of Avraham Avinu? We know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu come to visit Avraham Avinu, but why not? So first of all, we have to understand what's happening. Hazal tell us in a Gemara in Masechet Baba Metzia in page 86, folio 2. Hazal say and explain to us when HaKadosh Baruch Hu come to visit Avraham Avinu, it was on the third day after the circumcision. That's mean Bayom HaShlishi Lemilato. What it means Bayom HaShlishi Lemilato? As we explained that the third day for the sickness is the most painful, Hazal say. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that Avraham Avinu was in agony and pain, and he came to visit him. So the question became, that's all good. We understand HaKadosh Baruch Hu came, and it was Avraham Avinu that he came to visit. But why the Torah doesn't tell me that it's Avraham Avinu? Why the name of Avraham Avinu not been mentioned in the Holy Torah and not what's in the commentary of Rashi, Bedivrei Rashi? That's question been asked by many of the commentaries, and today I'm going to bring a commentary that actually brought by Arab Ben Zion Mutzafi Shalita, that he wrote in his book, Doresh Tzion. And he explained like this. He said, he actually start with the Gemara. Let's start with the Gemara in Masechet Nedarim in page 40, folio 1. The Gemara in Masechet Nedarim tell us something very interesting. And today we're going to speak about Bikur Holim. What it means Bikur Holim and how important is Bikur Holim. So Hazal say in the Gemara like this, Kol HaMevaker et HaHoleh gorem lo sheyihyeh. A person that visits a sick person, he actually helps him to live. He causes him to stay alive. And Hazal continue, V'kol she'eno mevaker et HaHoleh, and a person that doesn't go to visit the sick person, listen to that, gorem lo sheyamut. He actually causes him to die. Very, very difficult word, very harsh word of Hazal in a Gemara. And we have to understand what's happening here. Why is Hazal was so harsh about it that they spoke like this? So in the same Gemara, in the same page, Masechet Nedarim 40, folio 1, Hazal tell us a story about Rabbi Akiva. And as you all know, Rabbi Akiva have 24,000 students. Rabbi Akiva. And Hazal tell us that Rabbi Akiva saw that one of his students from the 24,000, listen to that, how much Rabbi Akiva cared about every student. One of his students didn't come for a few days to the yeshiva. What's happening? Hazal say Rabbi Akiva get up and gone to visit him because he saw that no one else knew. So he learned that the other Hachamim didn't go to visit the sick person. So he got himself. When he gone to his house, he saw his student lying on the bed. And he opened the window and he freshened the room. Not only that, he picked up the holeh, he washed them. Sa'adoto Hazal say that he dressed them, he washed them. He actually washed the floor. And then the student said to him something very interesting. Listen what the student said. The student said to him, Rabbi Ehyantani, my rabbi, you caused me to live. You've given me a life. That's mean that by that Rabbi Akiva gone to visit the sick. And he nursed that student, basically he nursed them, whatever he needs, he caused them to live. Hazal said when Rabbi Akiva, after he left that student, he said like this. Hazal said that Rabbi Akiva says something like this. Rabbi Akiva said, a person that doesn't visit the sick person, okay, I'll say it in Hebrew and then I will translate it. כל מי שאינו מבקר את החולה כאילו שופך דמים. What does it mean? Say Rabbi Akiva, a person that doesn't go and visit the sick person, shopech damim, is a murderer. What it mean, a murderer? Listen to that. And now we can understand why Hazal was so severe when they said that the person that go and visit the sick person actually help him to live. And if he doesn't go, he actually cause them to die. Rabbi Akiva didn't say it for nothing. We see that if Rabbi Akiva wouldn't go and visit his student, that student will die. Why? Because who's going to nurse him? Who's going to freshen the house? Who's going to wash the floor? Who's going to change his clothes? Who's going to wash him? No one. And there is a chance that that student would die. By that Rabbi Akiva, the Rebbe of 24,000 students, left everything, left his Torah, left his study, left his student, and gone to who? To visit who? His sick student. How important is Bikur Cholim? That was the introduction. Now, we're going to speak about and explain why Hazal and the Torah doesn't mention the name of Avraham Avinu. When I say Hazal, I'm referring to who? To Rashi HaKadosh. By the way, Hazal is Hachamenu Zichronam Livracha. That's the Rashi Tevot, the acronym of Hazal, Hachamenu Zichronam Livracha. And Rashi HaKadosh didn't mention his name. And we have to understand why Rashi didn't mention. So I'm going to start with a commentary like this. Say, in the same book that Doresh Tzion bring Arav Ben Tzion Musafi, he bring the Maharikash. Maharikash, Rabbi Yosef Castro. Rabbi Yosef Castro lived 495, he born in Egypt 495 years ago. He was a great posek that if you look, quite often, the Maran Bet Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karo, Baal HaShulchan Aruch, mention his Psakei Halacha. And the Maharikash tell us Halacha. And we'll see if that Halacha been pasken today or not, we'll get to it. But the Maharikash say like this, that when there is a sick person, you're not allowed to mention his name. What does it mean? That say that if you do Mishiberach, it's not good to mention the name of the sick person. That's what say the Maharikash. By the way, with the same opinion, agree the Magen Avraham, the Hatam Sofer. They both say. And why? They say because the person is sick. And if you mention his name, you actually, what you're doing now, there's a judgment on that person. And you waking up more judgment on that, you mustn't mention his name. But we know that Lehalacha, we're not exactly paskin like this. What does it mean? That Hazal say that today we know that we say Mishiberach for the sick, and we're mentioning the sick of the person. Why? Because that it's good to say Mishiberach for the sick. And if you want the sick to get healthy, you have to mention his full name. Okay? So we saw that. So what's happening here? What is the contradiction here? How does it fit together? There is actually mahloket. So Hazal tell us, and to answer that question, we have to look at the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat. The Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, in page 12, folio 2, Hazal says something very interesting. Listen to that, what Hazal say. Hazal say that when you standing in the front of the sick person, you're not allowed to say the Mishiberach with his name. That means, if the sick person, you go on to visit the sick person, you can't mention his name. Or if you're standing in the front of the sick person, don't mention his name. Why? Hazal say that mazala etrai. That means that the bad luck can happen. But Hazal come and tell us, then what you should say if you're standing in the front of the sick person, when you're going to visit the sick, and the sick is in the front of you, so what you should say? Hazal tell us in the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, page 12, folio 2. Hazal say, Rahmana yitkarnech leshalam. What does it mean? That the Almighty, that means the Kadosh Baruch Hu, will remind you and will cure you for peace, for good health. Leshalom. Leshalom, it means leshalom. That means when you're going to visit a person and you want to wish him refuah shleima, you mustn't mention his name. So Hazal say what you should say. Hazal say, Rahmana ditkarech leshalom. What it means? That you wishing that sick person that you're standing in the front of him, you wishing him, number one, good health, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will cure him, please God, b'shalom, with peace. Now, we have to understand why Rashi HaKadosh and the Holy Torah doesn't mention Avraham Avinu in a pasuk. Why? Because when HaKadosh Baruch Hu going to visit Avraham Avinu, what does it say? Vayera elav Adonai be'elonim amrei. HaKadosh Baruch Hu appealed to who? We know to Avraham Avinu. Because that parsha is a continuation of the previous parsha that Avraham Avinu done, the Brit Milah. But what's happening here? HaKadosh Baruch Hu was standing there. So if it say Vayera el Avraham, Vayera el Avraham be'elonim amrei, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu appear to Avraham Avinu Elonim amrei, you mention his name. And Mazala Atrae, that means that Has v'Shalom, it can cause Has v'Shalom problem. That means, what it means problem, I repeat it, that when you mention the name of the sick, you're actually waking up the judgment that there is against him. Why does a person get sick? Because there is judgment against them. Whatever averot he done, we don't know Heshbonot Shaman. So say the Mefarshim, from here you learn very important halacha, Rabotai. We not only learn Musa, we're not only speaking about Bikur Cholim, that it's important, like the Gemara and Masechet Nedarim tell us. In page 40, folio 2, Hazal say, folio 1, Hazal say that it's not only important to visit the sick person, and it's not only like a person that doesn't visit the Cholek Ilu Shopech Damim, as Rabbi Akiva say, that has v'shalom murderer. But it's come to teach us, when you go to visit a sick person, Rabotai, here's the halacha. And now we can touch and we can understand why HaKadosh Baruch Hu in his Holy Torah never mentioned his name. The name of who? Of Avraham. Vayera elav. It should say, Vayera Adonai el Avraham. No. Vayera elav Adonai. Why? Because when you're standing in the front of a sick person, Rabotai, listen to that, don't allow to mention his name. Because when you're coming to visit him, coming with you angels. Now I'm speaking more about what the mystical Chachamim say. When you're coming to visit a person, Hazal say, a person that go to visit a sick person, beside the mitzvah that he do, he actually doing a great health for the sick person. Why? That when you as a visitor going to visit the sick, you're taking one of his 60 of his sickness. What it means taking? You're helping him to disappear. Why? Because you see a new face, people coming to visit him, he feel important, he feel that he's not by himself. So when you come in to visit him, come angel with you. And Has v'Shalom, if you mention the name of that sick person, the full name, problem. You can't mention it. Why? Because there is already criticism against him. Why is he sick? Hazal come and said, don't mention his name in the front of him. But to do Mishiberach, if he's not there, no problem. No problem. So long that he's not next to him. And that's what the Torah comes to teach us. And that's why Rashi also in his commentary say, Levaker et ha'oleh, didn't say Levaker et Avraham. So from here we learn a beautiful halacha, Rabotai. We learn that when we're going to visit a sick, or if you stand in the front of the sick, and the sick wants you to do Mishibara, you have to be careful. You said to him, Rahmana yitkarech leshalam. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu will remember you and will cure you for health. Don't mention his name. That's the most important. Okay, now I will continue in the rest of the pasuk. Let's see what it says. V'hu yoshev. It says, v'hu yoshev. What it means, v'hu yoshev? Yoshev, if you look, referring to present, bilshon hoveh. What it means, hoveh? Yoshev is sitting now, every minute. What it means, v'hu yoshev petah haoel? What does it mean that the Torah tells us v'hu yoshev petah haoel? We have to understand. So to understand that, why is the Torah tell us that he's sitting presently, like now, in a prison? That Avraham Avinu, because it said v'hu yoshev petah haoel, referring to Avraham Avinu. That means that Avraham Avinu is sitting presently in the front of the tent. What tent? What are you talking to me? Many of them are parching us. We don't understand. It should say that Avraham yashav in the past, and Avraham sat in the front of the tent. No, Avraham sitting in a prison. We have to understand. To understand that, Rabotai, the Gemara in Masechet Eruvin, Yutet, Amud Aleph, Midrash Bereshit Rabbah, also in Parshiya 48, and the mystical Rabbi bringing it. From here, we're learning something very important. Avraham Avinu Yoshev bepitcha shel Gehenam. What it means? Avraham Avinu sitting on a door entrance to Gehenna, bepitcha shel Gehenam. And every Jew that have a Brit Milah, listen to that, every Jewish person that has done a Brit Milah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put Avraham Avinu there. Why? That Avraham Avinu doesn't allow him to enter Gehenna. That means Avraham Avinu say, are you Jewish? Yes. Did you have a Brit Milah? Yes, I can see. No, you can't enter. There, Hazal bringing these certain cases that even if a person done Brit Milah, he still go to Gehenna. What is it? A moshech be'orlato. There, Hazal say that the person that doesn't, even that he have a Brit Milah and he want to show that he's not Jewish, that he didn't have, or that he didn't have a Brit Milah, that he's pulling his false skin to look like he didn't have a Brit Milah, that's Avraham Avinu basically pretend that he didn't see him and allowed to enter. The other case that Avraham Avinu also pretend that he doesn't see him, if a person was with a Gentile woman and he never done tshuva. If a person done tshuva, obviously Avraham Avinu wouldn't allow him to enter because he done a Brit Milah. So Hazal say, what it mean Yoshev petah haoel? And we have to understand that. Hazal tell us, because we're speaking about the Brit Milah of Avraham Avinu. Sorry. Hazal tell us that Avraham Avinu, because he was the first one to have a Brit Milah, that commanded to have Brit Milah, Avraham Avinu, this mitzvah of the Brit Milah is so important that he sit in petah shel Gehenam and he saved all of those that even if they done averot, okay, done averot. But if he done a Brit Milah, and except the two cases that we spoke, he doesn't allow them, listen to that, he doesn't allow them to enter Gehenna. And that's what it means, Yoshev, v'hu Yoshev, kepetah haoel, kehamayom. What it means, that he's sitting in a door of Gehenna. Look, what we can learn just by looking carefully and reading carefully the word, v'hu Yoshev. And he doesn't say hu yashav in the past, or hu yishev in the future. Yashav is in a prison, that all the time, Avraham Avinu in a doorstep of Gehenna. Let's continue with the same verse. What is it said there? Kehamayom, in the heat of the day. What can we learn from that? So I saw a beautiful commentary of the Gaon Hida. The Gaon Hida, Rabbi Haim Yosef David Azulai. He born in Jerusalem 297 years ago. And he said, Rabotai, listen, something that it's mind-boggling. He said, if you look what the Torah tells us, you can learn halacha. What halacha? kechom hayom, in the heat of the day. What halacha can you hear from that? So a beautiful commentary that brings the Chida, the Gaon Chida, he said like this. He said that here the Torah come to teach us something very important. What is the Torah come to teach us? Said the Gaon Chida, that the Torah come to teach us here when to visit the sick person. The Torah actually telling us when you're going to visit a person that is sick, when you should go and visit him. He said that Hazal tell us in the Gemara and they learn from that kepetach hayom, ekhom hayom, in the heat of the day, they learn halacha. When you come in to visit a sick person, make sure that you're coming to visit him in the middle of the day. What is the middle of the day? Hazal say in the Gemara in Masechet Nedarim, remember page 40, folio 1. לא 3 שעות ראשונות של היום, not in the first 3 hours of the day, ולא ב3 שעות האחרונות של היום, and not the last 3 hours of the day. What does it mean? Hazal said that when you're going to visit a person that is sick, make sure that you're coming in the middle of the day. When is the middle of the day? It's after the first 3 hours of the day, of sunrise, and 3 hours before sunset. Hazal explained why. You know why? Hazal say in the Gemara. Hazal explained that the Torah come and tell us kechom hayom, that when a person go to visit the sick, we say that it's to help him. Mehayeh oto. What it means? Bringing him alive. When a person comes, in the first 3 hours of the morning, you see that the guy slept well, and now he wake up and he look well. So he doesn't need much davening for his health. I don't need to daven for him. He says he's healthy enough. And if you don't daven for the sick, it's Vayera, we learn. Hazal say, well, you know why not in the last 3 hours of the day? Because by then, by the end of the day, the sick person is exhausted from sitting, moving, uncomfortable. It's really not well. He looked like he's finished. The person may be saying, you know what, maybe I'll give up and I'm not going to say daven for him. Maybe it's better for him, Has v'shalom, to pass away. Has v'shalom, lo yakum v'lo yeh. So Chazal say, afilu heref hadam unachat ad shavaro shel adam, al yityaesh mena po'anut. That means a person not allowed to give up. So Chazal say that don't come in the last 3 hours of the day and don't come in the first 3 hours of the day. What does it mean? Say the Gaon Chida. The Gaon Chida explain what Hazal tell us in the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin. That it's here we're talking about Bikur Holim. The Torah come to teach us also when to go and visit the sick person. That means there is nothing that's not mentioned in our Torah about that. Nothing. We just have to read the Torah. To us, it sounds like in the heat of the day. Okay, in the heat of the day. But we have to understand that every word in the Torah been written by the Almighty. It's not a human being that wrote our Torah. The Torah is the manual. We just have to look depths and to try to dive deep, deep, deep to what the Torah tried to teach us. Here the Torah teaches, number one, I'm just going to summarize, not allowed to mention the name of the sick person when you're doing Meshiberach, it is next to you. Some poskim, we say that the Maharikash, we say the Hatam Sofer, and the Magen Avraham say that even if he's sick, don't mention it. So we learn that you're not allowed to mention the name of the sick person in front of you. What would you do if he's in front of you? Hazal in the Gemara Masechet Shabbat 12:4-2 say, Rahmana yitkarech leshalam. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu will remember you and will cure you to peace, please God. If he's next to you, if you want to bless him. So that's the first halacha that we learn. The second halacha we learn that Hazal tell us, Vu yoshev petach haoel, that the person that have Brit Milah, that merit of the Brit Milah, Avraham Avinu keep it. And for that merit, Avraham Avinu doesn't allow any Jew that have a Brit Milah to enter where? Lo alenu gehenom, lo alenu velo al af had me'am Yisrael. And what it says, kehom hayom, in the heat of the day, that you have a mitzvah to go be kur holim, like we explained, kol hamevaker et hahole mehayehu. Ki'ilu hiyau, what it means, like you bringing him life. V'she'eno mevaker et hahole ki'ilu orgo. That means like killing. And that's what Rabbi Akiva said in the Gemara Masechet Nedarim, page 40, volume 1. Kol she'eno mevaker et hahole ki'ilu shopech damim. A person that doesn't go to visit the sick person is a murderer. So we have a mitzvah to go and visit. Okay, I'm going to visit, but you have to know when to visit. What is the appropriate time to go to visit the chole? In the middle of the day. Why? Because in the middle of the day, you can see how he's feeling. You can see his agony, you can see him pain. And that will help you what? To daven for him, not to stop davening for the chole, and not to give up. And that's the secret that's hiding behind all of it. And that's what the Torah comes to teach us just on the first verse. Look how long it took us. It took us almost 40 minutes to understand, and I still didn't go into the depths. There's many more commentaries on it. And these are just brought certain mefarshim and certain gmarot. So from here we see, to understand our Torah, you can't just read Torah shebechtav. You need Torah shebe'al peh. You need our sages, and the Gemarot, and the Mishnayot, the Poskim. Only that can teach us, and that's the Torah. That's our beauty of our Torah. I would like to move on. Louis, I'm moving to chapter 19, verse 9. I'm skipping quite a bit because I spent almost 40 minutes on one verse, and I would like to accelerate. So I'm moving to chapter 19, verse 9. And the Torah tells us like this.
Chapter 19.
What? Chapter 19, verse 9. You there?
Yeah. Verse 9, let's just go back one page. Okay.
19.
I'm ready.
Okay. ויאמרו, גש אליו ויאמרו, האחד בא לגור וישפוט שופט, התנא נראה לך מהם, ויפצירו כבאיש לוט מאוד, ויקשו לשבור הדלת.
And they said, stand back. Then they said, this fellow came to sojourn and would act as a judge. Now we will treat you worse than them. They pressed exceedingly upon the man, upon the lot, and they approached him to break a door.
What's happening here? We see something very interesting in this verse, and I would like to explain because we can learn from here. Many people ask many questions, why is the member of Sodom was so horrible that they didn't want any new visitors in the town, and they didn't want to host people. They didn't want anyone in the town, in the city of Sodom. And today, Be'ezrat Hashem, I will explain. But first, let's explain the verse. In this verse, we see that the member of Sodom, the people of Sodom, complaining about Lot. How come that you, Lot, allowed people into your house, while the constitution that we have, that we're not allowed strange people to visit in our place? That means people that they not member of the town of the city of Sodom, not allowed to stay, you're not allowed to host them, you're not allowed to bring them in. And you, Lot, done exactly the opposite. You brought two people in, and we explained in previous show, many years, how did they find out? Because they came at night. The wife of Lot, after they offered them a meal, they cooked the meal. So the wife of Lot, you know what was her name? Irit. The wife of Lot, remember her name, Irit. Irit said to Lot, listen, we're short with salt. I'm going to ask the neighbor. When she gone to the neighbor, she told them, she pretended like she going to ask for salt. She going to tell them, you know, my husband brought 3 men into our house. And by the way, that's why she's been punished, because to furnished to become a pillar of salt because she lied and she said that she's going to ask for salt, midah keneged midah, but that's not for now. So when the member of Sodom hear that Lord bringing strangers to his house, they was cross. How can you change the constitution? But the shala is, what did they say to him? Listen what he said to him, and that's what we have to understand. Look what it said. Vayomru, ha'ehad balagur, a person that come to live with us, that we allowed him suddenly to live with us. Listen what he did. Vayishpot shofet, and he started to judge the judges. What does it mean? Rashi HaKadosh explained in verse 1 that in the same day they appointed Lot, one of the judges. Another judges like Lot, Lot become a judge in the city of Sodom. And a member of the city come and said to him, listen, we appointed you as a judge. We didn't allow you to change the constitution. We have a constitution in this place. You can't change it. Now that you a judge, but you should judge according to the laws and the constitution of our town, the city of Sodom. You can't change everything. So come the member of Sodom and complaining to him. Now that you become a judge, but you can't do that. Okay, now we understand until here. But we have to understand why the member of Sodom didn't want any visitors. What difference it make? They'll pay you, you're giving them food. They'll pay you and then you send them away. New people come. Let them come. What difference it make? They have money. Come, let them. I saw a beautiful commentary, a beautiful commentary of Rabbi Natan Shapira. Rabbi Natan Shapira, born in Poland 531 years ago. And he wrote a book, Imre Shefer. And in his book, he explains something beautifully. You know why the member of Sodom, the people of Sodom, didn't want any strangers to come to their place? Because they was frightened that if they allowed people to come to that place, those people are going to start living in their town. First of all, the town is very prosperous. There's a lot of prosperity there. They're going to start taking the higher position. And then themselves, they're going to push them away. So they decide, no, we're going to stay united, no one allowed to come. Adolf Zemidat Sodom. Why? Because where's the hospitality? Hazal say that, what it means Midat Sodom? That the only Midat Sodom is a level of Sodom. What it means level of Sodom? That they don't want to see anyone else benefiting, only themselves. Said Rabbi Natan Shapira on Divrei Hazal, he explained that they now complaining to whom? To Lot. Lot, we allowed you to come to our city. We didn't want anyone. Now that we allowed you to come and we make you a judge, look, you already become like what we thought. Therefore, you're not allowed to do it. And that's what they wanted to break the door and harm him. Now we can understand what does it mean, that verse mean. That the member of Sodom was complaining about what? That we made you now a citizen. We're giving you now a citizenship. You become a member. Not only that, we've given you a position to be a judge. And you already wanted to change. You already wanted to change the constitution. Oh, so all what we thought it was right. And that's what the Torah comes to tell us, that the member of Sodom complaining about who? About Lot. Let's move to chapter 21. In chapter 21, verse 16. I'm skipping a bit because we are actually running. I want to try to get as much as we can about the Parsha, and then we'll do the Haftarah, like we promised Orna, that after every Parshat Shavua, we're trying to explain one verse of the Haftarah, so we know where we are. So, okay, so it's chapter 21, Louis, verse 16. Verse 16. And it says like this, ותלך, ותשב לה מנגד הרחק כמתחבק קשת, כי אמרה, אל אראה במות הילד, ותשב מנגד, ותישא קולה ותבכה.
She went and sat herself down at a distance, some bow shots away, for she said, let me not see the death of the child. And she sat at a distance and lifted her voice and wept.
Rabotai, did you understand what's happening in this verse? I repeat again. Look what it said. ותלך ותשב לה מנגד הרחק כמתחבא קשת. She gone. Let me first explain. Here the Torah tells us that after Avraham Avinu sent Hagar and his son Ishmael away by the command of Sarah Imenu, that they must leave the house because Sarah saw that Ishmael is actually worshipping idols. And few times, a matter of fact, Ishmael tried to shoot Yitzhak, pretending that they're playing. Sarah Imenu immediately said, Sugawena, Ptzak, Hamba, go away. I don't want you inside. Avraham Avinu chased Hagar and Ishmael. He chased them. He listened. But the Torah tells us that he sent with them water and bread. And when the water finished, Hagar, what did she do? She left the child. The child was 17. Wasn't a child. It's not a baby. 17. She left him by the bushes, and she kept the distance of a shot of a bow. Whoa. What's the connection? What's happening here? Rabotai, we have to understand what's happening here. We have to go to Rashi again, because without Rashi, we can't understand the Torah. Rashi HaKadosh say, where is it? כמתחבא קשת, כשתי תיחות, והוא לשון יריית חץ. That means, Rashi explained, what it means כמתחבא קשת is a distance of the shooting for when you use a bow and arrow, when you shoot it, she kept the distance of shoe double the amount of where the bow can reach, the arrow can reach. Okay. What is that? What's happening here? Why does the Torah have to tell me that Hagar, the mother of Ishmael, sat in a distance because she was frightened in a distance of 2 shots? Why is that? Rashi explained. Many of them are Mefarshim. So I'm going to bring a beautiful commentary. Rabotai, a beautiful commentary. And if you listen to it, if you focus on it, you'll see that the Torah warning us now to what's happening in our land and Eretz Israel. Rabbi Ovadia Bartenura, the commentary that I'm going to bring is Rabbi Ovadia Bartenura. Rabbi Ovadia Bartenura, born in the city of Bartono. Bartono, it's in north of Italy, he born 580 years ago. In his commentary on the Torah, he explained like this. The Torah speak about bow and arrow because Ishmael was Rovek Hashat. What it means Rovek Hashat? He used to use the bow and arrow. He used to hunt people with bow and arrow. He used to hunt animal with bow and arrow. He used to kill people with bow and arrow. The Torah continues, V'hu pere Adam, and he is a wild man. Yado b'kol v'yad kol bo. He's a pere Adam, wild, a beast. Mamash a beast, listen to that. And I'll bring you sample for it. Say Rabbi Ovadia Bartenura, the mother of Ishmael, nursed him, given him birth. When he was a child, she nursed him. She brought him up. His biological mother was afraid of him. Why? Because his mother knew what beast she brought to the world. She knew who's Ishmael. A wild animal, a beast. Why? Because she knew that her child can turn any second on her. He can kill her. Why? Because pere Adam. Pere Adam. So the mother of Ishmael knew who she's dealing with. Her son is sick. Even when he's sick, I don't trust him. I'll keep double the amount of the shot of the bow. That when he shoot the arrow, whatever distance, I'll keep double. She didn't trust him. Why? Because she knew that the son is a wild animal. Wild animal, I don't know, it's a good name. He's a beast. Pere Adam. You know what Pere Adam? I will explain to you. In 1990, in the year 90, it was few soldiers after the peace process between Israel and the Palestinian Authority, the PLO. Few soldiers took the wrong turnoff and into Hebron, if you remember Ramallah, not Hebron, Ramallah. And those soldiers been caught, and if you remember, they slaughtered them and they threw them from the window. You remember those footage? Those the people that we're going to make peace with. So say Rabbi Ovadia Bartenura, if the mother of Ishmael that nursed him, she given him the birth, she birthed him to life. Biological mother that nursed them, feed them, everything. If she cannot trust them, how we can trust them and make peace with them? Is that the partner that we want to make peace? Say Rabbi Shalom Meir Valach. Rabbi Shalom Meir Valach wrote a beautiful book. It's called Ma'ayan Torah. That's where I brought it. That Shalita. He said like this. Say Rabbi Shalom Meir Valach. Look at what's happening with who is our partner to peace. If the mother of Ishmael cannot trust them, and we coming and saying, we're going to make peace with that person, can we trust them? Can we trust that nation? Rabota, since we make all the peace process, we given land and more land and more land, we didn't see a minute peace with them. How many Jewish innocent people been murdered, been injured by that nation? That is our cousin. Yes, it's our cousin. There's nothing to deny. It's our cousin. But the Torah come and tell us, you know who's your cousin? Before you make any peace agreement, before you do anything with your cousin, you better know who's your cousin. He's a wild beast, Pere Adam. Pere Adam. That's who we have to be careful. So Hazal come to teach us, and the Torah come to tell us, before you go and do peace with your cousin, make sure that you know what you're doing. You can't just come and do peace with everyone. You can't just come and put them in charge about the safe of our nation. We build wall. We build everything in Gaza, and you see, they still shot and killed one of our sniper. You cannot trust that nation. I'll tell you something else. The Shalah Kadosh. Shalah Kadosh define the two nations, the Christian and the Muslim. And he said that the Muslim, they compare to a cat, while the Christian, they're like a dog. A dog, we know, kulo lev, is full of heart. If you've done him good, he'll never remember, he'll never forget. A cat, even if you do good and you look after it, she doesn't remember. The nation of the Ishmaelim, it's the Muslim, they're exactly like the cat. They don't remember that you've done any good for them. Any emunah, you don't have a trust with them. Not that you have trust in a Christian, because they are also Amma, but they're more loyal than the Muslim. That's our holy Torah. If we just open our eyes and we read, and we can see what the Torah tried to teach us. Look what we have, what Torah we have. That every word, it's not a diamond, it's not gold. There's nothing that can people understand how holy our Torah and what we can learn from it. I would like to now to go to the Haftarah. Louis, I'm going to the Haftarah. You have the Haftarah. Okay, go to verse, we're going to go to verse 9. Louis, verse 9 in Haftarah, okay?
Okay.
Okay, verse 9. I'm going to read verse 9, and we're going to try to understand what is the Haftarah speaking about it, what it's come to teach us. So the verse 9 says like this. ותאמר אל אישה, הננה ידעתי כי איש אלוהים קדוש הוא עובר עלינו תמיד.
She said to her husband, behold now, I know that he is a holy man of God who passed by us regularly.
Okay, what is the story? Here the Torah tells us that regarding the prophet Elisha, the Haftarah that we read is the Haftarah from a book of Melachim Bet, chapter 4, it's in chapter 4, all of chapter 4, from verse 1 to right to verse 37. And there Hazal tell us something extraordinary. Listen what Hazal explained. Here they tell us in the book of Melachim that Elisha came to the city of Shunam. Okay, Shunam, it's in north of Israel. That was Shunam, the city of Shunam. And there was a woman, listen to that, a Shunamite. Who was the Shunamite? There is different opinion who was the Shunamite. I'm going to bring 3 explanations. In Rashi bring actually the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer, that the Shunamite was the sister of Avishag. Avishag, who's Avishag? If you remember, Avishag was the servant of David HaMelech, a young woman that served David HaMelech. When David HaMelech was old, she served him, okay? Bathsheba brought him, that Bathsheba was his wife, okay? And Avishag was looking after David HaMelech. That's one explanation, that the Shunamite was the sister of Avishag, the Shunamite, okay? Then Rashi HaKadosh said, listen what Rashi HaKadosh explained, HaShunamit, Isha Hashuva, very important woman. The Zohar HaKadosh in Parashat Beshalach, in page 44, verse 1, okay, folio 1, listen what he said, what they bring in, Sha'ita gdola b'ma'aser. What it means, gdola b'ma'aser? That she was very important woman, like Rashi say, but she have a lot of good deeds. Okay, now we understand who's the Shunamite. When the Shunamite saw that Elisha come to Shunam, to the city of Shunam, she approached her husband and she said to him, like this, Vatomer el Isha, Isha, it's a husband, like Ish, okay? Hinena yadati, now I know, ki Ish Elokim kadoshu, v'over alenu tamid. He come here, and I have a feeling, I know, not I have a feeling, I know that this man is a holy man, is a righteous man. What's happening here? The Shunamite saying to her husband, this man is a holy man. We have in our room, in our house, we have a room that's not finished. All we have to do, build one wall, and he can have, and he can stay with us. And if he stay with us, because he's a holy man, we can get a lot of brocha and a lot of prosperity from that holy man. So please build a room, okay? And he can stay with us. And we can give him a bed to sleep and a lamp to see, as it says in a pasuk, okay? That it said there, where is it said? ונשים לו שם מיטה ושולחן וכיסא ומנורה, והיה בבוא אלינו יסור שם. That means let's give him a place to stay, a bed, a lamp, a chair, and a table, and he can stay there. And we will benefit from all of his prosperity and his divine of holiness. Okay. Until here we understand. But it says one word, if you read it carefully, 2 words. Ata yadati, now I know. What do you mean, Achshav, you know? But wait. Every time he's passing, only now you realize that he's holy. So Hazal bringing, how did she know that he's holy? These three different pirushim, and that will answer. The one pirush that whenever he used to come to their house and he used to eat, no fly was flying around. Because he was so holy, the fly never come to the table. Another explanation that when he used to sleep there before, they used to give him a place to stay, but when she used to take, after he slept, when she used to clean the beds and everything, that all the beds and the mattress and the sheets, everything kept clean. So he's a holy man. The Zohar Kadosh said that on the Pshat, on the Drash, that's all beautiful. But I'm going to tell you a secret, said the Zohar Kadosh. The Zohar Kadosh revealed to us a great story here. What does it mean? Hinena yadati, now I know that he's a holy man. Hazal say in the Zohar like this. The Zohar say that Elisha used to have a cover over his face, a veil, that no woman allowed to look at him. Why? Because if a woman will look at the face of Elisha, she will die from his holiness. He was so holy that if a woman will look at his face, she died. Said the Shunammite to her husband, now I know. And I can give you my words, that I will never look at the face of that holy man, and you have nothing to worry that I will look at him and Has v'shalom, she will die. Therefore, there's no problem. Now we can build for him a room and he can stay with us, and I will never look at his face. I will never be so inquisitive. So you learn from here something very important, Rabotai. That here the Shunammite coming and saying to her husband, I test myself. I know that people are inquisitive, people want to look, but I'm not going to look at his face. And she said to her husband, you have nothing to worry. Because he was worried that if he's going to make the room for him and his wife will look at him, she will die. So what happened? She promised him that she can have this self-control, that she will never look at the face of Elisha Nabi. And what does it come to tell us? You learn from here. Now, Tara come to teach us here. It's speaking about also the woman, the wife of Obadiah, that his son died. And we're talking about here that Shunammite that didn't have child. And when Elisha came, he brought her the prosperity and they have kids to her and her husband, a daughter that was old. We learn from here that it's come to teach us one very important message. That to bring holy people to your house, if you have Rabbonim, someone that you know that he doesn't come to take money, that's what you must bring to your house. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should all merit to host holy people. Just one thing that I didn't wrote it, I didn't prepare it for the show, but I saw many of the Mefarshim say, who was the servant of Elisha Nabi, the prophet Elisha? Gehazi. We all know that Gehazi wasn't actually was a wicked person. He was a wicked person. The Mefarshim ask, we don't understand. We're talking here about Elisha Nabi, the prophet Elisha, that if women would look at him, okay, she will die. And if she will die from his holiness, how come that he have a servant, a wicked? And how did we find that he's wicked? A few things that the Hazal there show us and explain that that he took things that he shouldn't touch anyway, that Elisha given him the stick that he can, what do you call it? With that stick, he can bring people alive anyway. But how come that Elisha took a servant to serve him, and he's so holy, but Gehazi was such a wicked? And we know that when the woman stand in the front of Elisha, Gehazi wanted to push her. A man not allowed to touch a woman that is not his wife. And you, Gehazi, doing it? What's happening here? Hazal explained, Elisha knew that Gehazi is a wicked person. But Gehazi have a special neshama, that he can be a righteous man. And Elisha tried to work on him so hard to take those evil inclinations that there is on him, all of these evil forces, and to make him that special soul that he couldn't. We know that in the end, Gehazi died. Anyway, it's not the point. That it's come to tell us something very interesting. Hazal explained, I heard the commentary that Elisha given him a stick, and whatever that stick would touch, it would bring alive. So he saw a dead carcass of a lion, he put it on him, and the next thing he saw a dead carcass. I think it was a sheep. I'm not sure really. I don't remember it exactly because I didn't read it for a long time. It does show you have to read and read and repeat and read to remember. Anyway, he got to another carcass and he saw a lion, and he put the stick on it. And he didn't realize that that's a lion going to come alive. And that lion was obviously hungry. And he ate Gehazi. Okay? But that's beside the point. The point is that Hazal come to teach us that when you see a holy man, and sometimes you have a wicked person, those Gedolim try to work on a neshama that there is inside them to take the good soul and to push the evil forces away from them. But with Gehazi, it was too difficult. Whatever was the issue, it's not for now. So we learn from here that Elisha Rabbi was such a righteous man in such a high level that no woman can look at his face. And the Shunammite said to her husband, I can vow for it that I'm not going to look at his face. Although that people inquisitive, people want to see, I promise you I'm not going to look at his face. Therefore, you can build them a room. And that's what it's come to teach us. That was what's happening in our after. Be'ezrat Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will merit us to do ma'asim tovim, to do good deeds, like Avraham Avinu, like we saw, like Avraham Avinu created the angel and the Akedah, and etc. That's a beautiful thing. One thing I think that I skipped in the Parsha, did we say, Ki ata yadati ki ere Elohim ata? Yeah, I think that we explained that. Am I right? Did we spoke about chapter 22, verse 12? Louis? 22:12. I don't think that we done it, no? Louis? Hello? I don't think that Louis can hear me. Is anyone follow us? Did we say verse chapter 22? I think that I skipped it. I don't think that I said it. There's another thing very interesting in the Parsha, in chapter 22, verse 12. Here we see a dialogue between Avraham Avinu, sorry that I'm doing it, between Avraham Avinu and the angel. And we say it every morning in Parashat HaKorbanot, and it says like this, Ata yadati ki ere Elohim ata. Here we see that the angel said to Avraham Avinu after the Akedah, now I can see that you're a man that have a fear of heaven. I'm translating Hebrew to English, I don't know where it's Louis. And we have to understand, there is here a dialogue between an angel and Avraham Avinu. What is that dialogue that they're talking? So I saw a beautiful commentary that the Mefarshim bring, and we spoke about it before. Here, after Avraham Avinu took Yitzhak Avinu to the Akedah, what happened there? Avraham Avinu took Yitzhak Avinu. He took the Ma'achelet. The Ma'achelet, what it means, the Ma'achelet? Ma'achelet is the knife, pshuto. Hazal said there, what for you call it Ma'achelet? Call it Sakin. Ma'achelet That means, Hazal explained, שממנה אנחנו אוכלים עד היום. That means that from that knife we benefit until today. That we eating from that mitzvah until today. What does it mean? When when Avraham Avinu come to slaughter Yitzhak Avinu on the altar, came the angel and said to him, stop. Don't do nothing to that child. Do not harm that child. And we see a dialogue. And the angel said to Avraham Avinu, Ata yadati, now I know, ki yireh Elokim ata. Chazal tell us in a Mishnah in Masechet Avot, פרק ה', משנה ג', ב10 ניסיונות נתנסה אברהם אבינו. אברהם אבינו have 10 tests. And the last test, and the most difficult test, was what? The Akedah. Come now the angel and said to Avraham Avinu, Ata yadati, now I know that you have the fear of heaven. What's happening here? Rabbi, listen to this. The Zohar HaKadosh explained that from every mitzvah that every human being do, he create an angel. And lo alenu, if you make avera, he create a bad angel. So you create a good angel and you create good angel. When a person do a mitzvah, kihilchata, proper mitzvah, he create a perfect angel, 100%. But if someone do the mitzvah comme ci, comme ça, so he create an angel that handicap, what we call it. No legs, lo alenu, or no eyes, or one eye, whatever, it depends how you done the mitzvah. Here the angel come and say, I come to witness that the most difficult test that you have, Ata yadati, ki yireh Elokim ata, that this test to slaughter your son as a sacrifice, you done it 100%. And I'm the angel that you created, and I'm going now up to heaven to tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you created me 100%. What does it mean? That Avraham Avinu, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu to take Yitzhak Avinu to the Akedah, Avraham Avinu didn't have a second, a split of a second of doubt. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu meant like this, like that. No. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told me to do, I do. That's what say Avraham Avinu. And the angel coming and witnessing that he being created from that mitzvah, and he's a complete 100%. And that was the dialogue between Avraham Avinu to the angel. And now we can understand why it said there, Ata yadati ki yireh Elokim ata. Now I know that you have the fear of heaven. Because the way that I've been created as an angel, said the Zohar HaKadosh, the angel said to Avraham Avinu, you created me perfectly. I'm 100% angel. That means the mitzvah that you done doesn't make any difference what other people will think. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham, that's what Avraham Avinu did. And that's what the angel said. And that's the dialogue between the angel and to Avraham Avinu. Great chidush, huh? Okay, Rabotai. So, Be'ezrat Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will merit us to do mitzvot like Avraham Avinu. Mitzvot, that each mitzvah is 100%. With no comme ci, comme ça. When we davening, Rabotai, that's very important. Sometimes people daven fast. They're skipping words. I'm speaking for myself. You all tzaddikim. No, you tzaddikim. Sometimes when people daven fast, they swallow words, they skip words, they don't pronounce the word properly. So that angel that creating from that davening is a comme ci, comme ça. We don't know what is a comme ci, comme ça. That angel is not 100%. Or when I come to daven, I don't feel like. It's already you created a blemish in a mitzvah, in an angel that you created. That's every mitzvah that we do. We should have the hayshek. We should do it with 100% energy, with excitement for the sake of heaven. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should all merit to make mitzvot like this. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu and will build the Ted Bet HaMikdash. Amen ken yeh ratzon, yiru einenu v'nismach. If you have any question, please unmute yourself and I'll try to answer the question that you have. Bechavod.
Hello, it's Anthony. How are you?
Baruch Hashem. Antonio, how are you?
All right, thanks. You say Abraham sits at the entrance to Gehenna. Does anyone sit at the entrance to Gan Eden? Does anyone sit at the entrance to Gan Eden?
The entrance to Gan Eden, it's not so simple. To enter Gan Eden, you think everyone can come and go. But there is someone sitting in every doorsteps that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created. Because Chazal tell us that we mentioned in the Parsha that the person that been with a Gentile woman and he never done tshuva. If he done tshuva keneged hakol. Okay? If he didn't done tshuva, Chazal say when he want to go to Gan Eden, although that he have plenty mitzvot, he cannot go. Chazal in the Zohar HaKadosh say, מלפפת אותו ככלב, לא עלינו. What it mean ככלב? Chazal say when you go to Gan Eden, there is rechot tovim. There is a beautiful smell of Gan Eden. Okay? And a person that been, chas v'shalom, with a Gentile woman and never done tshuva, even that he done plenty mitzvot, and he's supposed to go to Gan Eden, but the smell of that dog, because they consider it as a dog, the Chachamim tell us, no, we can't. You can't bring such a smelly thing into Gan Eden. Gan Eden is a place that smells beautifully. You follow?
Yes, thanks very much.
Pleasure. Any other question? Bechavod, I think that Eitan wanted to ask. So Eitan sent a message. Eitan, Bechavod, if you have any question.
Hi, Rabbi, how are you doing?
Baruch Hashem, how are you?
You know, like you said, the hours of the chole. Like I feel like in the morning I'm okay, then I get to rest, and in the evening I get tired. Exactly that. So yeah, so then I'll make the hours when people can come visit me between 12 and 4. The question I wanted to ask.
No, not between 12 and 2. 3 שעות ראשונות. מתי זריחת החמה? Let's say, if you call it 6 o'clock, they can come from 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
From 10 o'clock onwards. אין בעיה, בעזרת השם. But we would like to wish you רפואה שלמה, ברמה איברים ושישה גידים.
Amen. So I want to just ask you about the malachim that one creates. Like in the day, where do they actually go? I mean, you say Abraham Avinu created the perfect malach. Every time you daven, you create a malach, and if he's deformed or not deformed. So the question: what happens? Like if it's deformed, so what happens really? What's the real chapia? The angel stays where? What does the angel do for you? Where does it go? Like what is the actual like what is the shura? What is the real reason for this malach? What is he doing with us? What is he helping us with? And obviously the same with the Vayera, chas v'shalom. How's it working with that? Like if he's the person that thing is around, how's he affecting us in that regard? Like is he going to make us chas v'shalom sick, or things are going to go away, or business deals going to go bad? In Tachlis terms, what is it actually happening? What's going on?
Okay. So I'll tell you now. Chazal tell us something very interesting. Chazal tell us in the Gemara Masechet Shabbat, שני מלאכים מלווים לו לאדם בערב שבת. מלאך טוב ומלאך רע, לא עלינו. Good angel and bad angel. אם בא לביתו, בגמרא עשה, אם בא לביתו ומוצא נרות דלוקים, the candle are lighting in his house, ושולחנו ערוך, the table is ready for Shabbos, מלאך טוב אומר, יהי רצון לשבת הבא. That will be like this for the next Shabbos. חס ושלום, if it's not like this, המלאך הרע אומר, יהי like this for שבוע הבא. What does it mean? Chazal say that every human being have angels, create angel from every mitzvah. Those mitzvah standing up in heaven for the day of judgment. Until when? until 120, after 120. And they witnessing about the good thing that he done and the bad thing, lo alenu. You understand? So the good angels say all the mitzvot that he done, all the good deeds that he done. From the other way, the other angel, exactly the opposite. I don't want to mention, okay? Those angels, their job, each one have a job. The good angel is to protect you. That has v'shalom, if a person done avera, the good angel will come and say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but wait, Vachabiki, this man done a lot of good deeds. We can't harm him. The bad angel come and try to criticize. It's like a lawyer, okay? You have a defender and a prosecutor, exactly like this. And as much that we do good mitzvot, we have a better chance against the prosecutor. The prosecutor, it's basically the bad angel. You follow, Eitan? And as much that you do good mitzvot, your own defender, that is the angel, the good angel, can say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we can't do nothing to this man, he's just doing mitzvot. Okay, so you make one mistake, no, nish gefelach, let them pass by, you understand? That's the job of the angel. How long they stay with us? Oh, until the end. Why? Because person do a lot of mitzvot. Mileim Israel mitzvot karimon. The Jewish people do a lot of mitzvot. But sometimes person do more averot, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu punish him for a bit and continue. The same like a father giving a pot to the child that was too naughty, been naughty. Sometimes it was the straw that break the camel's back. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu give him a small pot. And after giving him a small pot, he hugged him with his right hand. And all then and coming and giving him good words. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring him further on. You follow? That's the terminology of that idea. I try to explain it in our terminology that we can all understand the idea. You follow?
So what I'm confused about is you mentioned two things here, because one, you're talking about Olam Haba. When he gets, the prosecutor comes and talks about good, bad, how many mitzvot. But then the Rav mentioned now the fact that he gets a putz, if he does something wrong. And now he's at Olam Hazeh, because the thing. So that's the thing.
But you say it every morning. You say it every morning.
Yeah.
אלה מצוות שהאדם עושה אותם, נכון?
נכון.
You remember? And there is certain mitzvot that's standing for this word and for Olam Haba. But there is certain mitzvot only for Olam Haba, that you benefit from them for Olam Haba. But there is certain mitzvot that you'll do them here and you can benefit from.
The same as Averas.
לא, מצוות שאדם עושה אותם בעולם הזה, והקרן קיימת לא לעולם הבא. So, but there is certain mitzvot that those angels that you do them, standing only for עולם הבא. But there is certain mitzvot only בעולם הזה. גם בעולם הזה וגם בעולם הבא. You follow?
What about the Veirot? Do they affect us in this world at all?
For sure. I'm just trying to be very careful the way that I answer. There is certain averot that when a person do, immediately he gets strike. Chazal tell us Hayatom, Hager, Ve'almana, Ve'alevi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu have four people that he is in charge about them. Hayatom, the orphan. Hager is the convert. Ha'almana is the widow. Ve'alevi. Those four belong to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If someone harmed them or caused them a bit of pain and they cry, or they have ogmat nefesh, they've been embarrassed, HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised that he doesn't wait. Immediately strike. Lo alem. A person that harm orphan, a widow, a convert, or a Levy, You have to understand that it's matter of second. When I say second, weeks, months, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu strike. You can't touch those people. This is one example. For example, Hazal say, what is a Levy? Today, we know that there is a tribe of Levy because we have Kohen, Levy, and Israel. But what is the Levy? Hazal explained that if someone embarrassed Talmid Chacham, Has v'Shalom, or harm him, or cause them pain, it's immediately. The strike is immediately coming. Not only that, Amalbin pnei habero barabim, a person that embarrasses his fellow friend in public, the punishment, the strike is immediately. The punishment coming immediately. When I say strike, I'm talking about punishment. We don't know what the punishment is going to be because we don't know Hashbanot Shamayim, but it's guaranteed to come immediately. Other averot that the person do, HaKadosh Baruch Hu have patience. Doesn't punish immediately. He doesn't strike. There is certain averot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu immediately punish. He strike immediately. Each one to his level. We don't know Hashbanot Shamayim. You follow?
Toda Rabbi. Heavy mode.
Okay. Pleasure. Jeffrey, you wanted to say something. Jeffrey, bechavod.
Yes, sure, David. You brought a new dimension to the fact of with Hagar and with Ishmael. You know, when you first read it, she put the child by a tree. I mean, you think to yourself, what is a baby? Only when you rethink it out, he was 17 years of age, and she stood at double the bow shot away from him. It brought a new dimension to our relationships that we've got to have with people who want to destroy us. I like the analogy of about the association of the Ishmaelim with a cat, and with the Christians with a dog. A dog is homely, it's close, it's got heart. A cat will only come on their terms. That's it. That in itself tells you exactly. And it's the most amazing thing that we're told as well that there's the connotation of the bee with the Ishmaelim as well, because the bee will strike you, and from a distance they'll strike you, and they're prepared to die for it. A bee will die when it stings you. And this has brought a whole new dimension. And these facts, it's glaringly obvious that we cannot sit down with these people in any way because it's on their terms. We cannot do it on their terms. It's going to be on the terms that the Torah tells us. It's warning us. It's a red flag to us. This is what it is, and you brought it out so nicely, Rob. And I want to thank you. And it's cemented the idea of how we should actually behave. But what the problem I think we are making peace with Ishmaelim. So
we try.
We are.
We're trying.
We're trying. But there are at the moment certain pacts we've made with certain countries, and we must always bear in mind these pacts are there for one reason only, because an enemy of an enemy makes a friends. If you both got a combined enemy, you become friends. If that enemy disappears, well, it's a different story.
Yeah.
So,
I just want to add up one more word, Jeffrey.
Yes.
One more word. You know why they call him Ishmael?
Well,
why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Abraham Avinu, when they call him Ishmael, Abraham Avinu called his son from Hagar Ishmael. Why did they call him Ishmael? The Zohar HaKadosh, listen what he said. Listen what the Zohar HaKadosh said. And we have to focus what our sages tell us. The Zohar HaKadosh say, you know why they call him Ishmael? Take the word Ishmael and split it to two. Yishma El. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will listen. The Almighty will listen. Said the Zohar HaKadosh, just before the Mashiach come, I didn't want to mention it in a show that we spoke about the Mashiach, because I didn't want to make you all worried. Ya'asu tzarot gdolot. Our cousin is going to make for us so much sorrows that we lift up our eyes to heaven, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will listen. Only when we lift up our eyes to the heaven, and we say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, enough from those sorrows that our cousin given us, Ishmael. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ishma, it means the Almighty will listen, and then He will strike them.
Wow.
Ishmael. That it's only when we going to lift up our eyes to heaven, and we say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please save us from those cousins. Then Ishmael, and then He will look after them. That's why it's called Ishmael. That's why they call him Ishmael. The Zohar HaKadosh explained.
Okay. Esa einai el hahorim esri.
Yeah. Me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Hashem.
Esri me'im Hashem.
Okay. Any other question, Rabotai? Any other question? If there is any question, I would, if I can, I mean, not necessary that I can answer, I'll try. Okay, no more questions. So I would like to take the opportunity to wish all of you Shabbat Shalom. Please, God, will meet on Sunday, but in the meantime, enjoy your Shabbos. I hope that we brought a new dimension to Parashat Vayera, that when we read it on Shabbos, you'll understand a different dimension, what's happening in a Parasha. Be'ezrat Hashem, that to wish you all Shabbat Shalom, Umvorechet, and safe and healthy, beautiful weekend to all of you and all your family, and Kol Am Yisrael, B'chol Makom Shem. Have a good night, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you. No, thank you. Shabbat
All
Shalom.
the best. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.